Hi, I'm Dave Vickers and welcome to the Photo Show. In today's episode, we're going to look at how you process those great moon photographs you've been taking in Lightroom. In the past, I've made a few videos on how to photograph the moon and get great images. I'll put a link up here if you haven't seen those already. But once you've taken those photographs, how do you then get the best out of those images? Let's jump over to Lightroom and process a few moon photographs. Okay, so you spent your evenings outside in the cold photographing the moon, and now you've got your images. What I'm going to do is just show you how I would process them in Lightroom, just so you can get the best out of the images you've taken. So I've opened up one of the raw images of the moon here, and as you can see, because it's a raw image, it actually looks quite flat. It's lacking a bit of detail, but that's quite normal with raw images. JPEGs have the camera's processing already baked into them, whereas the raw images need work on to pull the best out of them. It also looks reasonably dark, and that's one of the beauties of using the Lunar 11 RAW. It will give you this slightly darker image, but it's a lot easier to pull details out of the darker shadows than it is out of blown out highlights. Blown out highlights are basically gone, whereas the darker shadows, especially in the raw image, you can definitely get some details back. So here we have our image of the moon, and as you can see on the side here in the basic panel, everything is on 0. The colour temperature is on as shot. We can alter that later on, but for now I'm just going to leave that as it is. So start off, we're going to go with exposure. I'm going to boost the exposure up a little bit, just to start bringing through some of the brightness of the moon. So there, I've pulled it up about 1.5 stops. Next I'm going to add a bit of contrast because again with the moon you've got lighter areas and darker areas, and the more we can pull that out, the more detail it's going to look like we've actually got from our images. So let's bring the contrast up a little as well. I'm adding more contrast to this than I would to a landscape or a portrait, mainly because we've got more contrast in the moon. There's more darks and lights that we want to accentuate. So next thing we've got is highlights. If we start to pull the highlights down, you can see very quickly we go to nothing. So let's start to bring that back up. And for now I'm just going to leave it around -10. And let's go to the shadows slider underneath, and let's start to bring that up to the right hand side. So we're opening up the shadows now as well. You can almost go to 100% there, I would say, so 100% on the shadows. And I'm going to bring the highlights back down a touch as well, now that we've opened the shadows up. Okay, so now let's boost our whites up. You can hold down your Alt or Option key here as you're clicking, and that will show you exactly when you actually get some pure white coming into the image. As you can see there, that's gone too far, so let's just do it so we've just got a couple of dots. That'll do fine. So we had some pure whites in there as well, and we'll adjust the blacks going the opposite way, so bring the blacks down. Right, so you can see now the amount of detail that we're starting to get within the image. So let's bring the clarity up. Again, because it's a moon image, you can use a bit more clarity. It will take a bit more clarity than you would with a normal image. I wouldn't normally push as much clarity in this, but that's showing a nice amount of detail. So let's bring the vibrancy up now. If we push the vibrancy right up, you're really going to start to bring through any colour that was in the moon. Obviously that's looking too fake, so I think we'll just leave a little bit of colour within the moon there. Okay, so that's the basic panel taken care of. Let's come down. We're going to miss out the curves, and we're going to go straight to the luminancy and sharpening. Now sharpening, we can bring the sharpening up. Really push the sharpening up, and we've got our masking at the bottom here. If we hold down the Alt or Option key as we click on the masking slider, the screen's going to go white, and as we slide it up, only the areas that are in white are going to be sharpened. So I'm going to pull this so we're just getting the edge and some of the detail there. And there we go. If we do a before and after, there we go, there's a before and after, and you can see we've actually made quite a huge difference to the image just in a few simple moves. So that's how I would work on my images of the moon. But if you've got any great tips on how to process your moon images in Lightroom, please leave them in the comments below and it can help everyone else out. For now, I'm Dave Vickers, this is The Photo Show, thanks for watching, see you next time.